Hello?
As to like the
Hello?
procedures. Hey, Rosemary. She was speaking about it. Yeah, like the procedures. Hey, Rosemary. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Rosemary, you can hear us. Can you please unmute yourself?
I can barely hear you.
Okay, we're gonna try to speak into the
Can you hear
microphone.
me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can hear us. Unmute yourself.
Delay.
It sounds really bad.
No, I figured it out. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Rosemary, that should clear up the echo. We can hear you. You just gotta, we'll speak into the mic so you can hear us.
I can hear you at times. Hear you only at
Sorry.
times.
It's because we're,
Sorry.
I'm speaking with a mask and then I'm gonna try to speak into the microphone for you. We hear you, also. But, I don't know if you heard what case we're on. We're on case, 21-1689, 33 Westford. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think.
I'm sorry, you said something about 33 Westward?
I think she's just on a delay, so it's gonna take her a while to respond.
Respond actively like that. I think she's gonna be on the delay. I don't know if we'll be able to- I don't think she hears us good.
No, I'm concerned, I'm sorry, were you gonna say something? I want to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I'm concerned that what's happening here is affecting the businesses adjacent to it as well. And so here, just because somebody's ignoring a notice and it's affecting other businesses. When you look at our downtown area, it needs all the help it can in terms of some business. And now we have vacant. The businesses that we do have, we want to maintain. And I think that Miami Springs is the kind of city that if we find out and have somebody from the city, Public Works, mow a lawn or something for residential, it's because of the same thing, because we care about how our city looks. So this business has ignored the notices. I'm all for making a motion that we send someone from Public Works out and then build a for it. And, and it goes by way of like a special assessment on the property at that time. Is that okay? And that has to be, made specific to them, so they see that it's really winning business. You just don't have a business in Miami Springs and take it for granted and do this and affect other businesses.
Not disagreeing, I just, it's not clear to me how is it that we can do that.
Right.
So,
But because they said it's an option, that's why we can have it explained.
Don't we normally take in consideration how many times they've been there?
like a weekly,
And we come up with a number.
like a weekly violator?
Yeah, like in the past, these homes, when they were all foreclosing, and we set up, we figured out how many hours the city went, how many man hours, and we would come up with a number, when someone else got the problem. Rather than another bank, rather than someone bought it, short sale, foreclosure, remember all the Oregon problems we had. I don't think it's anything we did. It was brought to us that the city had been there 3 times, 4 times with a crew. And we guessed a number of man hours with a number on it.
Yeah, so,
I mean, we want it clean. If we find them, we can start a fine, but we want it clean. I see that a lot all the time. I can't believe pictures are worse than, I didn't notice. I noticed it, but not the whole entire lot.
assuming there's no, and I don't see like a fence, I don't see anything that would, stop the city from entering and taking action to the property. Property owners seem to be non-responsive. So, we can provide a notice of the corrective action that we're going to take in order to take the code violation. Yeah, I think the city, city can do that. And that will, regarding the fines, that's something else. We do that immediately, the fines are going to be, there's not going to be anything. If the city takes immediate action, there's not going to be a fine, maybe something wrong. If they have to pay the ticket, there's going to be that outstanding. Is there a reason to believe that this is?
I don't think so for future. I just think they merge with another bank. I think now it's like BB&T and.
Okay, so it's a bank owned,
BB&T and SunTrust.
and Sun-
okay, so it's a bank owned property. That's not a good thing. So it's a bank owned property. I mean, there's a lot of due diligence, but it's probably already passed, just went through some type of bank acquired title. And they're gonna look to dump it on somebody, and they're gonna take it with notice. The sooner we record our liens against the property, they're gonna take it notice of the short liens. And then they're gonna come here and they're gonna ask for some type of mitigation to the extent that the fines, there are any fines. And that's when we come into play and we say, well, wait a minute, first you gotta pay the hard costs to the incurred and maintain this property for you, or for the bank. And if to the extent there are any fines, we're kind of going against the buyer who took it from the bank. But that's when it would come into play. When we obviously decide to request mitigation because hopefully it's in compliance at that point. And they want to lower the fines to something reasonable. That's when it would come around. So I guess the sooner the better, I guess. My advice is the sooner the better that we get something recorded in the public records, Miami-Dade County. Then everybody will be put on notice that yes, the city is maintaining that there is issues going on with the problem.
I did confirm with Rosemary in regards to who made a complaint. So it seems like it was the Milam Supermarket. A complaint was received over email.
Yeah, so that people here. Good mind.
So if you were to make a motion that the city clean up the property, issue an invoice, and we set it for next month to then advise the owner of the decision the board has made.
Well, that decision is going to be mailed to them either way. If you make an order finding them, this was what a ticket or a citation.
We take it, yeah.
If you render an order affirming, so we're here just to certify the fine, right? They didn't do it. Right, we haven't heard back from the property. They're gonna be, a copy of the orders to be sent to the property owners. They're gonna be notified of your decision anyways. And if the city does go out there to comply, you know, once it's brought into compliance, there's really not a reason to bring it to the board, but could request that the city shut.
About bringing it back to the board is if this continues to happen, so the city goes out there, cleans it, and then it's like this again.
Yeah, this is gonna be, in
Yeah.
my opinion, it's gonna be a monthly, evaluation. That's what- Kind of say, if we clean it once, then what's gonna happen?
The city,
The city can continue cleaning it and keep assessing.
yeah, every time those costs, those monies are spent, it's gonna keep assessing. It's not gonna meet the cost. The city will assess it against the property.
But at least that way it'll be clean.
Yeah,
Because right now they're ignoring what's being said, so that's, I thought I had alluded to a motion, at least I don't know. It's not a motion, somebody
I
else.
just like to, I'll second your motion and add the amendment of bringing it back next month
Yes.
with an invoice from the city. So that we can,
I just need to have you repeat the motion. Please clarify.
So the motion is that we have the city go out and assess, you know, charge them for doing it and provide them notice. And that way, it's on record and it's clean, because otherwise it's going to be on record and still be messy.
You're saying to assess or to clean?
To clean, when I'm saying assess, is to fine, so let me correct myself. That we'll be fining them for the man hours. So what the city does.
and then as an amendment to that to bring it back next month. As a follow-up.
Well, okay, so procedural wise, you would have to make it. You would have to add that.
So let me add that amendment, and next meeting, we bring that up.
And I'll go ahead and second.
is it immediate? Collective immediate?
Yes.
So we have a motion, or we need a second.
I'll second.
I'll do a roll call. Board member Corey? Aye. Board member Isla Ray?
Yes.
Board member Bankston?
All right,
Board member Zapata?
Aye.
And board member Figueroa?
Aye.
This will come back to the next.
The following case is case number 21-2011, property address 232 Westford Drive, code of violation 93-13, maintenance of property by owner. This is also a court case from Code Compliance Officer Novo. On December 9th, 2021, property unkept inside and out. And she sent out a notice to please cover windows if unit is vacant or units, left voicemail and she mailed out Seaman record notice. On January 11th, 2022, property remains in violation of maintenance, dirty sidewalk, windows, door, trash, litter, building in need of paint, etc. Posted $100 ticket, also sent via regular and certified return receipts, number 6378. On January 20, 2022, summons to appear was given to police for service to homeowner. Copies of summons were also mailed via regular and certified return receipt number 7290. Today, property owner Keith, I observed him cleaning mold mildew from the fascia. I approached him and he confirmed that he will be attending today's board hearing. He explained that he had been working yesterday and today on getting the property in compliance. I observed that the windows were clean, trash, litter, and overgrowth from the rear yard have been removed, and he was also working on removing the mold from the side wall of the building by using a mold remover spray, and he was also patching any visible cracks on the wall. So these were the pictures taken by the compliance officer Novo. And then these are pictures that were taken by me today. And the property owner is here. Yes, so that's the interior.
Yeah, can you please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record?
Good evening. My name is Keith Halprin. My address is 15921 Dornock Round, Miami Lakes, Florida, 33014. First, I apologize for my attire. I didn't realize I needed to come today, and I was across the street, so I'm going to make that work out. But, just a couple of things on the history. I do not have, I'm old school. I do not have voicemail at my house. So they said there was a voicemail message left. I have no idea where that message was left, but it certainly wasn't at my house. So I don't know. The first notice I received of this was in January, not in December. Not saying that it's sent, I just didn't get it in December. So I've been aware of this from the January 11th notice. I have been, because of COVID, I haven't had any possible renters. I really haven't been coming to the property, which is why the windows got dusty. I just wasn't showing. I haven't been showing them. So I cleaned that up and I'm addressing the mold. The one thing that I have an issue with, and I really want to address because I think it's really important, is a request that I cover the windows with brown paper. Now, I checked the code, and what the code does is the code says it's a prohibition. It says if you are going to cover the windows, you either have to use brown paper or white paper. It's not a directive. And the reason I don't want to cover the windows is the building is vacant. I'm afraid it will be burgled. So I have the lights on, as you all probably see when you come here, and I have the windows open to decrease the possibility or to make it just a less inviting place for vagrants or burglars to go. And I have a building in Tampa that before I was rented, someone went in and they stole all the copper, cost me thousands of dollars. So these things do happen. I understand that some people are upset that there's empty mail and stuff. I will clean that up. I'll make it look neater. But I don't think it's really appropriate within the city's ability to have me covered up with brown paper. I certainly will try to make it look better. And I have office furniture in there because my plan was to take the furthest to the left looking at the property. I was going to, in the code came, I was going to turn it into a furnished office and try to rent it out as a furnished office because it's very hard to rent office property here, as you know. But then when COVID stopped. So the furniture that you see in there is the furniture that I brought from another property I have down here to put into space. I imagine I will be finished with the cleanup within a few days. And I mentioned to the code compliance officer, I have plans to redo the back parking lot and put in a sidewalk and some rock for the drainage. I haven't brought those forward yet because I see they're tearing up the street. And I figure I'll do that after they tear up the street for the electric. So, any questions?
I have a question. How long has that been not rented?
Way too long.
A
Certain
long
years.
time, right? For
Yeah.
years, that's what I
But
thought. It's a nice property.
it's a beautiful property, and I generally maintain it well, but it's just very hard. The people I get who want to rent it, they want to pay $8 a square foot, and they want to put a pizza parlor. It's just very hard, and I'm happy to hear that you guys are trying to bring up Miami Springs, because you really should be able to get decent rent at a property like that.
How long did you say you needed to clean up the inside? Or do the mail?
Well, in the mail, I'll do tomorrow. So what's in there is office furniture. I will just neaten it up. I'll get rid of the mail. I'll try to hide some of the boxes. I really don't want to go to the expense of hiring a moving crew to move the piece of furniture. I will make it look neat.
How long do you?
I'm working on it this week, but I don't want to give myself I don't want to say I'm going to
Like
do this.
10 days?
Give yourself time.
Yeah.
So,
I hope to have it in 10 days, but can I have 30 days for everything? Because like I'm working now, I just,
Yeah, we're here to help. We're not here to, cause problems. or hinder. If you say you need 30 days, then
I think I'll be done by then, but just, it's,
give you a little bit of cushion.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll make a motion, give 30 days, instead you can put, you can't move those boxes inside
No, the boxes I can move.
inside the other.
Yeah,
office.
the boxes I'll move inside the office. Some of the heavy furniture I'm making some of the, but I'll make them look like it's a,
How does the mail go in? Is there a slot there on the door?
that is, there used to be a slot in the door. I've actually replaced all the doors with hurricane stuff. There used to be a old colonial door with a slot.
So what is it? Somebody collects the mail, opens the door and dumps it right there on the door?
Well, I have to say it may have helped, but I just grabbed it. It was from the tenant. I just kind of put it into a pile. So you're really should get mail delivered at this point because I don't have the tenant.
All right, I'll make a motion to, like, 30 days till the next meeting, whatever it is, to come to compliance, full compliance.
I said it done.
Contact, whichever officer.
We have a first and a second. I just want to clarify, you just said the next meeting, because you have like 28 days.
Yeah,
Next,
next meeting.
And I don't have to put the brown paper because I really don't want to.
I want to ask the attorney about that. Is there anything in the code that says that he has to do that?
What about the brown paper bag?
Brown paper on the windows. What the code says is, and I looked it up.
I'm not aware of that.
I think that was
And be more dangerous for the
You
city.
can move the stuff out of there, I mean, the idea is to not see the stuff.
Right, yeah.
Right. Okay, so just get the stuff out, you don't have to put the paper up, correct? So we don't have to worry about it, right? So we give you 28 days instead of 30, that's the next meeting, is that right?
That's fine.
Okay, to come in the full compliance.
Thank you very much.
we have a first and a second. I'll just do a roll call.
Yeah.
Board member Corey. Aye. Board member Isla Ray.
yes.
Board member Bangston.
All right,
Board member Zapata.
Aye.
And board member Figueroa.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
All right, thank you.
I just want to say, and I'm going to say it 150 times, we need to have codes and needs to the city, and we do not. That's it.
We need to what? I'm sorry.
We need to have codes and address the needs of this city currently, and our codes are so outdated. And when I was on council, I got tired of saying that, and no one listened to me, but I'm gonna keep saying it. Maybe somebody will snap and say, hey, you wanna stop listening to her? Because then our time is wasted here, and then we have tenants and people who are trying to do good for the city, and they pay the price, and they shouldn't be.
The following case number is 21-1813, property address 1041 Brent Avenue, code in violation 71-04, inoperable vehicle prohibited. And this is also a case from co-compliance officer Noble. On November 1st, she observed a Ford Explorer parked at property with an expired tag. She posted and mailed the civil infraction notice. I'm sorry, it seems like she posted it that day and mailed it on the 3rd. On December 9th, 2021, the vehicle remains in violation. On December 21st, vehicle remains in violation and she mailed ticket via regular and certified return receipts number 6316. On January 20th, summons to appear was given to police for service to homeowner. Copies of summons were also mailed via regular and certified return receipts number 7269. As of today, the vehicle remains parked on the property with an expired tag. So these were pictures taken by the co-compliance officer on November 1st. And these were taken today.
Is the homeowner here?
And that tag is registered to the homeowner? Do we know?
We would have to ask police to run the tag. Unfortunately, we don't have that access.
We got the certified mail card was returned for service.
We heard the police delivered the.
I did receive it yesterday, but I'm not sure, exactly what it mentioned, but if you guys would like, I can definitely go second. check.
No, I think, you know, we sent the regular mail, certified mail, and also delivered by the police, so I'm assuming that the homeowner received.
The ticket was posted because I personally went with her when she posted the ticket. So it wasn't there on the door today, so someone must have received it.
It's in a state, it's possible to don't lose.
There's been no payment of that ticket.
It's state, so. Something's taken care of it without town. I'm just, it's a possibility. No one's talking to them.
No, no one has been in contact with Rosemary.
Anybody like to make a motion on what we could do?
30 days to comply, and if they don't comply, they can fine. The driver. I don't know what they define.
We can hear you. Can they issue the ticket to the police department?
No, right. So,
Do you want to give them 30 days and then going on November? Another extra 30 days. The card just gonna sit there. That's the motion.
see what their thoughts are. What you think?
It's like John said, we can give them the benefit of the doubt, it may be in the state, there's nobody living there. But somebody probably is collecting the mail, and somebody did park that vehicle there at one point.
That's why I'm thinking 30 days to have them react.
So they haven't reacted in 90 days, I've got another 30 days, they're gonna react with this.
And we're gonna do the fine for the homeowner? Is that what we're proposing?
Yeah.
There's a fine that goes to the home. What if the car is not registered to the homeowner?
Doesn't matter.
So-
So
So if I have a relative that really isn't speaking to me and leaves a car on my driveway, I'm responsible.
You take it over that property, it's not your car.
Okay.
You can have
If
it
that's the
towed.
way you wanna look at it, and then he does suggest to the guy, listen,
You can have the car towed.
I have this car too, but this
It's
is.
private property,
Yeah,
and I can't go take my car.
you know,
to
we
your
don't
home.
take family we inherit it, right? And sometimes we have the ideal family, that's all that I'm saying. It's fine, I just want a clarification. You know, I have two kids that are grown, I now know that if they leave a car like that, I'm gonna have it towed the next day. I'm not being difficult, girl, position, I just wanna understand.
I like your motion in 30 days. I know they're not gonna come.
You know, I think there's a thread there that if they're going to comply sir. My motion would be to give them 30 days for our next meeting to comply. And if they don't comply, then $25 a day retroactive to today.
Is that second? Okay, we go first and second. Well, is there any other discussion? Or do you want me to call? Vote?
No, go ahead, call the roll.
Board Member Corey?
Aye.
Board Member Isla Ray?
Yes.
Board Member Bankston?
Aye.
Board Member Zapata?
Aye.
Board Member Miguel?
No.
Passes four.
Yeah, I said no, because he had till November.
So, because we have the translator, here, we're gonna be going back to the second update, which is property address 432 South Royal, Louisiana Boulevard.
Good evening.
Take your name and address for the record.
Su nombre y dirección, por favor.
Luisa Chacariaza,
Luisa Chacariaza,
432,
432
South Royal, Louisiana,
South Royal, Louisiana
Boulevard, Miami.
Boulevard, Miami Springs.
On November 2nd, 2021, Board Member Martinez Figueira moved to grant 90 days to have an issued permit and to have an update on February 1st, 2022. Board Member Benson seconded the motion. On November 3rd, 2021, I received a call from the property owner who explained that as soon as she had a day off at work, she would contact me to grant me access to the property. On November 12th, I was granted access to the property and to the backyard where I was able to observe all the structures in question. The homeowner mentioned that she was interested to legalize all these structures if possible. I explained that the first step would be contacting the zoning director to confirm if these structures met the required setbacks, and that she might need someone to translate as he didn't speak English. On November 18, 2021, I showed the zoning director the pictures taken. He explained that the structure built throughout the side of the house doesn't meet setbacks and it will need to be demolished. The terrace and the bathroom do meet setbacks and could be legalized, but it was his recommendation that the homeowner speaks with the building official to confirm if they were built to code. I relayed the message to the property owner. On December 23rd, 2021, homeowner Luisa contacted me and explained her concerns regarding not being able to have an issued permit on time, as her architect had tested positive and had not been able to pass by her home to take the required measurements and draw the plans. On January 20, 2021, I mailed a copy of the agenda via regular mail. Later in the afternoon, the building official, architect, homeowner, and I had a conference call. The architect asked what day would be the latest that he will be able to submit. I explained that as per the last code compliance board hearing, a permit will be required to be issued by February 1st, and that the typical review process would take between 5 to 10 business days. So meanwhile, he's translating. I want to mention to you guys that she has been in contact with me and the building official throughout this time. It's just that I didn't, update the pages each time, but we speak once or twice every week.
Yes.
On January 25th, 2022, property owner Lisa passed by the building department and requested the required documents needed to apply for the permit. She completed the permit application and the owner builder form and got this notarized, but was explained that until she was ready to submit other required documents, she wouldn't be able to apply for the permit. On January 31st, 2022, building permit number RES 22-0147 was applied to demolish and legalize existing structures and for new construction of a terrace. I received a call from the homeowner who explained that she had submitted the permit and had also paid the $100 ticket. As of today, the permit is waiting to be reviewed by Sony, which is the first trade that needs to review the application.
sea que está trabajando en eso.
I don't see why she should be penalized in one.
Visualmente. Estoy de acuerdo.
How much time do you think it would take for her to get that permit up?
It would all depend in if they have comments, but I would say about 90 days, just in case, if you guys would require an update, that would be my recommendation. So the structure that runs all the way on the picture throughout the right, so that does need to be demolished. Now she has a small terrace and the bathroom, they do meet code. There are certain things that, as I heard the conversation she had with the building official, that she does need to get to code, but she's gonna be able to legalize the bathroom and the terrace, and then she will be extending the terrace towards the bathroom. It's what her plans show.
And then the part that's going to be demolished, is just gonna be demolished.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, what's,
I was just gonna say, I was just gonna say that, we need to give her a little bit more time. As long as she's updating us, I think, you know, within reason of what we're asking. As long as she's updating us on status of permit or the structure or anything. So we don't see one reason why we should give her a fine or anything like that. She just needs to update us. And that's just my opinion. Yeah.
so where's she at? What's her, what stage is she in?
¿En qué etapa se encuentra usted en este momento?
La revisión del plano.
The revision of the plans. Yes, the city has to review and approve them.
Did she apply for them?
¿Ya usted lo sometió a consideración de la ciudad? Yes,
Ya está cometido, ya está pagado,
they were already submitted and it has been paid for.
falta que lo aprueben.
I'm waiting for the approval.
That's what you were suggesting, the 90 days.
Right, because I was asked more or less how much time she needed. I do work in the building department, so more or less I do have an idea of how much it can take. Unfortunately, our zoning director, he was out also because of COVID, so he just returned today. He wasn't able to review them today, but it would take for other required trades to review them, unfortunately, because we don't have full-time inspectors. not all of them come every single day. So typically, it would take for all of them to review them about 5 to 10 business days. In case she has any comments, it would obviously take the architect time to, make all the required responsive comments or changes on the drawings, and then you obviously have to resubmit and be reviewed again. But if it's approved, in this case, then it would just, the permit will be issued if everybody approves it.
Okay, so so.
It was submitted yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay.
So it's like we're at the point where she's done what she's had to do, and now it's a matter of the process, so it's really outside.
I mean, it's not gonna get done in 90 days. Or 90 days. It's not gonna happen. But we could, there's gonna be too many comments. Too many revisions. It's gonna keep going on, so to me, the time needs to be small. You understand? 90, then it's gonna push it to 90 again. Because of the severity of problems. It's not gonna happen. This was in November 2nd, and, December 23rd, this architect's coming to our house, has code, that's 7 weeks.
He was sick.
I realize that, but we made the order on the 2nd of November. So 6 or 7 weeks later, the architects come. And here we are 3 or 4 weeks later. I'm just saying that you lose time, and then, so if we grant 90 more days, it's 90 more days that people can live in those units and collect rent, and we're gonna wait and keep waiting.
Part of it is already been demolished on one side.
Well, she was advised to not continue doing any work without permit. So to be able to demolish the rear structure, she was advised to wait until a permit was applied for.
Yeah, I saw, yeah.
I wouldn't say inspect because I'm not an inspector, but I did go into the shed. It was confirmed, that it was not being used for living. And then, so like nobody's specifically living there. It's not being used for living. All the side structure is being used for storage. From what I was able to observe, it's not really big enough to be able for somebody to live there.
It's gonna have to be updated.
I understand the hesitancy in terms of the time. I hate to see something go on and on and on. But I also see a lot of cases where it's blatant, sort of like dismissal of what decisions here are, and then people just don't do it because they don't want to. But I don't see that in this case. I see somebody who's waiting based on what she's been advised to do. I don't agree with that. I agree with 90 days. None of us want that. We can put an order in place and it's still not going to happen.
Se aprueba antes,
If it's approved before that,
entonces yo procedo
I would proceed then
a demoler
to demolish it
y poner la
and to,
terraza.
and to add the terrace.
So could we make a motion that within a certain amount of time, as when the permit is approved within a certain amount of time, she's obligated to, rather than just like 90 days?
Once she gets a permit, she's in compliance.
Come back every month, just and keep us updated on the permit.
She has time to do her work. But we want her to get a permit. And then for that permit, the city will tell her what she has to do.
No, I didn't, yes, but she doesn't have control of the city. That's what I'm saying. So we're penalizing a resident for
Yo no tengo problema que la I'm just waiting for the approval.
We're trying to give her enough time that, the city can do it. We can't make the city work any faster.
No podemos hacer que la
Have
ciudad
part-time inspectors, I understand all that. Just, we don't want to waste everyone's time.
no queremos hacer perder el tiempo a todas las personas.
Yeah, I wanted to make a motion to bring her back in 30 days with another.
Traerla en 30 días nuevamente para tener una actualización de su caso. So,
I second that.
First and second. Any more discussion?
para que nos dé una actualización.
From the cities,
Para ver qué está pasando.
¿Qué fecha sería?
What's the date?
It's a little less than 30 days, so maybe you, the motion should be to, at the next meeting.
At the next meeting. 28,
Para la
28.
próxima reunión,
28
28
de
días.
febrero.
No,
if I may
28 días.
interject, so there was some discussion on the issuance of a permit, whether or not it would comply, this violation. According to building, it's not simply the issuance of a permit which will close out this case, it's actually, there has to be a finalized permit.
Yes, so each case that has to deal with work without permit, once the permit is issued, that doesn't make our case into compliance. So our case comes into compliance once the permit is finalized and closed.
Was that the motion that was made?
So the motion that you guys made was to have an issued permit as of today and come for an update.
No, but that wasn't the motion.
But I don't think it's on-
Oh.
No,
That's like the history.
I'm talking
the
about the
one
previous
from
motion.
November 2nd.
Okay, so we're just wanting to.
Yeah, just an update.
Yes.
Que nos
What
dé
do you
una
got? What do you got?
actualización en la próxima
No,
reunión.
we have a motion to come back in 30 days with an update on this.
Right, we have a motion and a second,
And a
and
second.
we're in
So it's-
discussion right now.
This discussion and we'll go to vote after.
El de Júcar y ahorita se
And
lo
you want
dice.
us to reword it to say not in 30 days, but the next.
Next meeting.
Correct.
En la próxima reunión que son los 28.
So I second the amended motion. to come in next meeting.
So, there's no more discussion, I'm going to.
And one discussion. Get second, if there's any more discussion.
Board member Corey? Aye. Board member Isla Ray?
Yes.
Board member Banks?
Aye.
Board member Zapata? And board member Mejia?
Aye.
Five will come back to the next.
Para regresar nuevamente para una actualización en 28 días de la próxima reunión de la Junta.
Which would be, the next meeting will be May 1st, March 1st, I'm sorry, March 1st. Tuesday,
El
March 1st.
1 de marzo va a ser la próxima reunión de la Junta. 1 de marzo a las 7. Ok. ¿Está lista? ¿Puede
Thank you.
Have a good evening. Placer.
Thank you.
Wanna do this next case?
Yes.
Got 3 more cases.
I'm sorry, you're here for which address? Okay.
So sometimes that's why we can ask for a final inspection. That's just not what we're done. So,
That's a different scenario. That's what she's trying to say. Have a lot of stuff.
the sheds, the-
But permits- a full permit process is very different. Very different now because of the way we have a structure in the city wondering sometimes if it actually costs us more money the way we're doing it, but that's just me.
Let's move on to-
All right, so we're gonna continue with, case number 21-1846 for property address 534 Drive, code in violation 15104, applications for a building permit. And this property, is coming in today for two different cases. One of them is for windows and door, and the other one is for fence, so they're sort of, similar. This is case number 21-18. Oh. Oh, sorry. On November 4th, 2021, during routine daily inspections, I observed from the alley a new vertical 6 feet high wood fence. After checking the permit history for the property, I was able to confirm that no permit was applied for to install a fence. Civil infraction notice was mailed and granted 10 days to apply for permit. On November 23rd, 2021, no contact had been made or action taken. I mailed a final civil infraction notice to apply for permit and granted 30 days. On January 5th, 2022, I issued a ticket in the amount of $100. Will refer to compliance board if no compliance is reached within the final 7 days. The tickets was posted and mailed via regular and certified mail, tracking number 0471. On January 11th, 2022, I observed via, I'm sorry, I said I could barely see. I spoke over the counter with Ryan, who introduced himself as Williams, who is the homeowner's friend, and wanted to pay the ticket. I explained that paying the ticket would not close the case. I also explained that if a permit was not applied for by January 19th, I would refer the case to the co-compliance board. I also mentioned to let the property owner know that if more time was needed to apply for a permit, he could contact me. I gave Ryan my card and also all the required documents needed to apply for the permit. We'll follow up on January 19, 2022. On January 19, 2022, no compliance have been met, or a permit was applied for, or contacts have been made. We'll refer a case to co-compliance board. On January 20, 2022, summons to appear was given to police for service to the homeowner. Copies of the summons were also mailed via regular and certified return number 0181. As of today, a permit has not yet been applied for. So this is a picture from the property appraiser's website. So it shows that the fence was not done. You can kind of see the post sort of like holding on the fence. And that's a picture from the alley. Would you guys like me to present the other thing as well? I mean, it's pretty much the same follow-up dates.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so this is case number 21-1848, property address 534 Drive, code of violation 151-04, application for building permit. On January 4th, 2021, during routine daily inspections, I observed new windows and front door installed. After checking the permit history for the property, I was able to confirm that no permit was applied for I'm sorry, I think that I used the same, of the other one, the template. To install windows and door in this case, I'm sorry. Civil infraction notice was mailed and granted 10 days to apply for permit. On November 23rd, 2021, no contacts have been made or actions taken. Mailed final civil infraction notice to apply for permit and granted 30 days. On January 4th, 2022, I issued a ticket in the amount of $100. Will refer to the compliance board if no compliance is reached within the final 7 days. The ticket was posted and mailed via regular and certified mail number 0464 on January 11th, 2022. I spoke over the counter with Ryan, who introduced himself as Williams, the homeowner's friend, and wanted to pay the ticket. I explained that paying the ticket would not close the case. I also explained that if a permit was not applied for by January 19th, 2022, I would refer the case to the code compliance board. I also mentioned to let the property owner know that if more time was needed to apply for a permit, he could contact me. I gave Ryan my card and also all the required documents needed to apply for the permit. We'll follow up on January 19, 2022. On January 19, 2022, no compliance have been met or contact have been made. We'll refer the case to the code compliance board. On January 2022, summons to appear was given to police for service to homeowner. Copies of summons were also mailed via regular and certified mail receipt number 0198. As of today, a permit has not yet been applied for. And this is how the property used to look as far as the windows and door and how it is today. So this picture is from November 4th, but that's how it is today.
Homeowner here. Can you come up, state your name and address your record, please?
My name is William Swallow. I'm at 534 Strike.
Okay, the reason why you haven't pulled the permit for the work?
I got the doors and windows in November. My dad got, I spent all the time with dad. He's got cancer now, and that's it. I worked from 5 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I spent time with my dad. I know it's important. I swung by the city on the 18th. I need to get my survey recertified. They told me that they would recertify my survey since it's a couple of years old. And I honestly haven't gone back. I have my NOAs from my windows. I'm making double copies, so I got like 600 pictures for you guys to see. That's it. I don't have an excuse.
How long will it take you to get the permit for the fence and the window doors?
And we should find her sitting on the counter. Well, actually, take that back. I need to get the sign certified survey for the fence, which takes only one day to the other. Can you guys do it one day to the other?
Yes, so if you request it, sometimes can be done same day. A lot of the times, if an inspector is not available, they'll ask the compliance officer for the area to do it, so.
Can I leave the gates open? You guys go.
Yeah, so when you request for the survey to be recertified, whoever goes out to do the inspection will contact you to confirm if, access will be granted that day.
I'm sorry, how long do you think you did?
Honestly, by the end of the week, it should be done. If you want to keep a nice round number, say,
But you have the paperwork to file for the permit, you have the paperwork filled out, you're just waiting on the survey.
yes, actually. I can do the doors and windows without the survey, correct?
So, a survey is not required, it's not a requirement for so you can submit if you would like, if you're ready for the windows and door, you can definitely submit.
Yeah, I
with
didn't
that.
submit because I had a single copy of NOAs and you're like, you're gonna charge me a crazy amount of money for the amount of NOAs because it's double copies or something like that. It's stack bigger than this big.
I believe what building charges per copies is 50 cents per page.
15.
15, I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
no, I'll do that.
15.
It's not hard. It's not hard.
It's time of like getting there. Being here.
I know you have a lot on your mind. Do you think 30 days?
Sure.
Or, I'm sorry, the next meeting?
Yeah, if it's complied by then do I have to attend?
You would have to let the code compliance officer know that, also, whatever we decide to. So, anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion. You have an issue permit by the next meeting.
I second that.
What?
Issue permit
For both cases.
for both cases.
And if the doesn't,
The issue permit? No respect.
Okay, so could the motion be that, attend the next meeting and give us an update, and the update should preferably be that everything is done, but at least that we have an update at that point.
Well, I think at the next meeting, then we can.
no, I'm thinking the
Yeah,
motion, that the way you
and-
said it is basically to have the permit by next meeting. So what happens? Doesn't. I'm assuming it will be done, just saying. But if it doesn't, is there?
Can we decide then, or is that, is it norm that we decide when we make the motion? Remember, I'm pretty new.
Normally, what we, I mean, what I've seen is, that you have 30 days to comply, and if you don't comply, then you're gonna have a big one. Whatever that is. That's my suggestion.
You have a motion, but can you clarify it just so we have?
So my motion is to have an issue permit for the next meeting. On both cases.
Yes, we have a second.
And then we'll discuss it. At the next meeting. I understand what you're saying, because there's a reason for it. Make sure that I get this done.
$200 a day, it's fine.
Well, no, I see that you're an honest individual, I mean, you know, you're here. Yeah.
Pick a number.
Yeah, $100 tickets were paid for both cases.
I did have a question about that. How come there was 2 cases and not all?
Not specifically, so the windows and doors were actually, noticed previously.
Because it all at the same time.
Yeah,
That's because
So
you-
I did, so he had a bolt, I don't know if you can see it, yeah, so it's right there. So one case was actually opened before, by the previous code compliance officer, and then I went and I opened the case, for the windows and door. So since 2 cases were already created, I mean, he had just created the fence and I hadn't noticed. Because I was, also being trained in code at that time. So,
that's okay.
yeah,
You're
the
fine.
timeline,
You're
the
good.
timeline
I
is the
just thought
same
it was the
because
same
I was
thing.
the one who sent out the notices for both. But, he did come into compliance with the bolts, so when I was sending the information for the other case, I noticed that, the one for the fence, a notice was not mailed out for it, so then I mailed out the notice for that one. So that's why typically, if we notice, and I'm sorry, it's not because of the ticket, typically, we notice, when we notice, we do add everything in one.
I knew there was a reason.
Yeah, it's really hard to build a fence with a building with. That's the problem.
So we have a first and second, we have a motion and a second motion. You're done discussing. Motion is to have an issue permit for both cases by the next, meeting, which would be, March 1st. We have a second. That's all. Board member Corey?
Aye.
Board member Issa Rae?
Yeah.
Board member Bankson?
Aye.
Board member Zapata?
Aye.
Board member.
Aye. So, that means, next meeting, you'll have an update.
Sure. Permit, actually, you won't see.
No update.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good night. Appreciate it.
from my understanding, when there's a fence, when they replace the fence, if they don't replace the posts, they don't have to get a permit.
I think when it's a certain amount of feet, and it's a repair, they don't. In this case, the posts were, replaced.
Right, so if you have like the slats, whatever that are, because I was told that one time in another case and when I was in council, I was explaining that, and I just want to know, is that? So,
I mean-
okay. Because I see, right, when you pulled out, I can see that the posts are on there
Yeah.
too, so that's why I'm asking, is it because he tore down the whole thing, the posts were up, run, also we had to replace them. So it
Yeah.
becomes a foundation kind of thing with
It
having
requires,
built it right,
requires inspection.
right.
You change one pole, require like a hurricane comes on, 3 poles down, 2 poles. 6 feet fence. You do it under $500, but it requires inspection.
Yeah, when you're talking poles, you're talking the ones that are holding the thing up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. I just want to know my stuff.
I think this is our last case.
So this is case number 21-0627, property address 409 De Leon Drive. Code violation 93-13, maintenance of property by owner, unsafe. So it's considered an unsafe, property. On August 26, 2021, co-compliance officer Quintero received a phone call from Eva Rossi, caretaker of Budelia Rossi, who lives at 409 De Leon Drive. The phone call consisted of Eva explaining that she wanted to know about the program that repairs roof at no cost by the city. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Ladies.
Yeah, but then the microphone.
Oh.
The program that repairs roof at the city for no cost. Co-compliance Quintero explained that the city of Miami Springs did not have a program like that and provided her the phone number to the senior center and mentioned that they might be able to guide her with possible agencies that could provide that type of service. On August 27, 2021, the director of co-compliance, Ulysses Fernandez, explained to co-compliance officer Quintero via the phone that he needed him to perform an inspection due to possible unsafe conditions at the property. He explained that Eva and Budelia Rossi passed by the building department and were very expressive as the poor conditions of the roof and possible collapse that could happen. At around 2 p.m., co-compliance officer Quintero arrived at 409 De Leon Drive and was met at the door by Eva Rossi. She granted co-compliance officer Quintero access in the property and walked him to Budelia Rossi. After some conversation regarding the issue, Budelia allowed Eva to walk him to the areas of the home affected by roof damage. He observed the following: 1, 2 bedrooms on the eastern elevation of the property, south of the pool, had the ceiling drywall caved in some areas due to water filtration. Several buckets were laid around to capture the water. The easternmost bedroom is Budelia's room. The northern elevation of the property that included a living, toilet room, laundry room, bedroom, and bathroom that can be found north of the pool did not have any air conditioning. The smell of possible mold and moisture was in the air. Co-compliance officer arrived at a bathroom that is not being used. The entire ceiling drywall had fallen, including the lights fixtures. The property requires major roof repair and interior repairs, exterior molds and mildew accumulation in exterior walls and metal fence in the northern elevation, missing fascia, and exposed wood beam leading to the bedroom in the north elevation. Based on his observations, Code Compliance Officer Quintero verbally granted 30 days to submit permits to repair the roof and interior drywall and any other possible damages to the property. He also provided the phone number to the office of Miami-Dade County Commissioner Rebecca Sosa. Furthermore, he informed the city manager, William, the building official and co-compliance director, Ulysses Fernandez, and the assistant city center manager, Angie Aguila, about his findings. On December 21st, 2021, no contact had been made and no permit had been submitted to correct the unsafe conditions of the property. I mailed out a final civil infraction notice to apply for a repair permit and granted 30 days. On January 20, 2022, due to the unsafe conditions of the property, I referred the case to the co-compliance board. Summons to appear was given to the police for service to homeowner. Copies of summons were also mailed via regular and certified return receipt number 0167. On January 26, 2022, I issued a ticket in the amount of $100. The ticket was posted and mailed via regular and certified mail tracking number 0204. As of today, no contact has been made or actions taken. The property remains in violation and the $100 ticket has not yet been paid. No pictures were taken of the interior, but these are pictures that were taken of the exterior by Code Compliance Officer. And then these were pictures taken today. As you can see, no repair has been done onto the property. It remains in the same conditions.
So the expectation was that these two older ladies do these repairs?
Can you repeat that? I'm
There were
sorry?
two old ladies that lived there, right? That's one?
I'm not sure of their age. But as per his notes, one was the caretaker.
That's why I'm assuming they're older, because there's a caretaker, so. So I guess the answer is yes.
I'm sorry, I don't want to say yes because I don't know if that's true.
Okay, the persons who called, and alerted the city that they were in this distressful situation and not being fined, because they, not fined, but they have repaired, right? Otherwise, the residence is condemned, what's the next step?
What is it that the city needs for compliance?
So in this case, the property, it's found to not be honestly in proper, in proper conditions to be lived in. So we will require them to apply for a permit to be able to, to in those unsafe conditions.
To bring into compliance with the Florida building code.
Right.
Question. The ticket that's here, it seems to be is the only ticket that's been issued.
I'm sorry, it seems to be what?
The only ticket that's been issued,
On this property, yes,
and it was issued January 26th,
correct.
2022. So we haven't even really given them 30 days. How did this come to you before this ticket was issued?
Well, I wasn't the one who opened up the case. It was the previous Code Compliance Officer. He did have a follow-up scheduled for him to confirm if the permit was applied for or not. So that's how, I was made aware of the case.
So there's not any other ticket that was issued other than this one that you issued on the 26th?
Are you asking if they're a repeat offender?
Basically.
Do they have a history of other violations?
So they have had other cases open on the property in regards to like parking on the grass and things like that. I mean, I would have to confirm, I would have to look up the history for the cases for the property to
Were
confirm.
they resolved?
Yes, so this is currently the only access piece at the property.
And the only ticket is this one.
Correct. Right, so they are given, 7 days as of when the ticket is issued to pay for it. It is up to them, you know, whenever they would like to make the payment.
It appears to me that it's gonna be a difficult case to get, if they're already calling about looking for a program to replace roof, and they're not gonna have the financial capability to repair that roof.
Do you know if the owner has passed away, and the ticket is issued to the estate of?
So we issue tickets to the mailing address that shows on the property search website, so property references.
No, we don't know the reason for the creation of the estate. Basically, by law, we have to follow what the information is, in the property appraiser, tax collector's records. So they have notice pursuant to the county records. We would have to do a little bit more digging and inquire as to what's the basis for the estate.
Do we know if anybody's living there now?
The building inspector, want to refer to the unsafe structure, they kind of, it wasn't that bad. Because
I would need to bring in the building official to testify and answer your question as to whether or not he deemed it to be rise to that level.
I mean, that one room is all drywall, electric, so.
Yeah.
How old is that house? Is it's probably plastered, you know, plastered. I'm just curious as to the old house, you know, possibility of destruction. On stage. It's that bad.
It's just, I mean, in my experience with unsafe structures, there's a likelihood that if they conduct an inspection, they warrant an unsafe structure case, but again, I can't make that call.
That would have to be applied by the city.
That would have to be called by the building official. That's an unsafe structure case, it's probably for the county board.
Can we request, request the building official to make that call to the Daytown unsafe structure?
It's not really, it doesn't answer the instant question before you as to whether or not this is in violation of the code. But you could add that. There may be grounds for find that something may warrant a further look. Could definitely make that request.
It just looks that she's living there, she probably has the money. Fine.
It's not gonna go before you. Otherwise, I would tell
It's
you
not
no.
gonna get any-
You can't submit a complaint and then judge the complaint. That would be truly conflict, but it's never gonna go before you. Since it's an unsafe structure case, it takes a completely different route. So if you have a grounds for concern, you may make that comment in this case.
So we can make. So, I don't think it's gonna go.
Right, I think whatever ruling we make, it's not gonna progress further. It's gonna stop. It's stay the same.
You want to fix.
I think we have to get Daytown.
We could, so if an order is issued with, let's say, it's a running fine based on a violation, that would be requested. Or is it just a ticket? So it's only a
Yeah.
one-time fine?
As
Okay.
of right now, only the ticket has been issued. I mean, of course, because of the conditions that those people are living in, obviously we are concerned, on their behalf. If, if there's water leaking through that property, they can definitely be moved and things like that. So obviously, it's, our approach is not, to have a daily fine on the properties, to get that repaired.
That's my concern, because right now, we're not in the middle of the rainy season, but it's approaching quickly.
We could send, so if we, even if it's just a ticket, the board is certifying the fine on. You could, we could look into the estate and send it to maybe the parties who do have the power to come in and take some type of action as opposed to the people, that are just at the property. There could be a pending court action. I don't know. What's the nature of the estate, but we could look into that. Send notice above and beyond, what the property, the county property records say.
I don't see the copy of the county records here. Would it be? To give them 30 days to file for
Yeah, I think it's beyond that right now, from what I'm hearing. I think, we need to go about what we roll. Because it could very well be unsafe in there. If so much time has passed, water doesn't get in there since August. It could be mold, it could be breathing mold. But, it could be all kinds of stuff in there that would be unsafe for anybody to be living. That's my concern, that's my fear. I wouldn't want somebody to be living in a condition like that. The way I think we can get action is to go about what are we?
Yeah, I don't know that we can do that. This is your kind of and may not be anything
I mean, if anyway, we have to take care of it. The property in our city and, it has to be taken care of, whether there's somebody living there or not. But it is my concern that somebody is living there, whether you see a car there or not. If we're living in unsafe.
So we have building inspectors in the city of Miami Springs, or that we have to go outside of the city of Miami Springs to make that happen?
No, there's building inspectors.
You mean like the people who work part-time for us, and we call them and they come in?
Well, I don't know their employment status, but I know there's building inspectors.
Like those people that we come in, when we need an inspection out of the house, and
Yeah, we have 3 building inspectors.
that are part-time.
Correct. One of them is a building official and he's,
What I'm saying is we don't have an in-house structure. And so,
the building official is in-house. So he can perform building inspections, roof inspection. So he's one of our inspectors.
so I'm gonna tell you how I'm viewing this, just because I'll sleep better if I put this out there. So this is an older person, maybe with a caretaker. Okay? And we've gone in as a city and we've established that it's unsafe. And now there's an estate, we don't know what the estate is. But you see, I have an 88-year-old mother who lives alone with a caretaker right now. And if the city went in and said, this is unsafe, and I don't know about it, and the thing caves in and she dies, I'm gonna go after the city. I just think that we need to understand what the liabilities are when we put a statement out there to a resident and say something like that. We have knowledge that there's a person living there, it's unsafe. This is probably a person, she's desperate
We
because
don't
she
have direct
asked.
knowledge. This is just an assumption. This is an assumption. We don't know.
Okay, but it doesn't have to fall from the sky and hit you in the face to know that this person is desperate when they call the city and they don't have money. Forget Rebecca Sosa. She only cares about being in the parade. And yes, I'm saying that on the front. So, yeah, it bothers me. It bothers me a lot. So I'm gonna try and sleep tonight while on this one, but this one's gonna make me lose sleep.
if the board wishes, we can make, we can notify the building official. This is something that during the course of the hearing was thought to be an unsafe structure and to conduct an inspection. And he'll determine the course of action. If it warrants an unsafe structure, we could definitely go that route. We've done it before, as you know, and we've exercised the full rights of the unsafe structure ordinance for the county. We've demolished buildings. So, but at this point, I can't, I need that type of input. So,
I just think we're totally ignoring the human factor here, and the building is one thing, but, and so I feel like.
We ask Ulysses to give us a finding or a report to give us direction.
Well, I mean,
He went there.
there's nothing. It's outside of your jurisdiction, because if he makes that finding, sure, you can notify, hey, by the way, regarding this case, it was somewhat of a side note, not, this kind of spawned a different issue, but it is gonna take a different course. It's not gonna involve this board, it goes to the county.
I just say we're gonna
But we can certainly
make
notify
a
you.
ruling and nothing's gonna happen. I mean, that's
Yeah.
my guess. I don't know that for a fact. That's my guess.
We can report back as to the findings.
And the board to know whether it is a
Just
safe
thought
or
maybe
repairable.
we could, give his opinion of what direction we could take to
Sure.
either get it, get them out of there to something safe, or if it indeed is not gonna fall down, then we're gonna have to make a rule.
The ruling, based on the violations, and to the extent that it's, the order is that it has to comply, it was, the exact violation for this case was, I mean, it's a property, but it dealt with the structure itself. Right, so it needs to be conformed with Florida building code and all that, the local codes. So to the extent that it has to be brought in compliance, and they don't do that, then the city has its remedies that it has to exhaust. After it goes through the code enforcement process, it could happen at the same time. Tomorrow, if the building official finds that it's an unsafe structure, we could go that route and not wait for any order to come from the board. Just notify the board that, hey, by the way, we did issue a notice of violation pursuant to the county code. And it's gonna, most likely it'll be the city that's going to bring this into compliance by way of demolition. Or the property owner may mistake, maybe they make an appearance and take whatever repair action is necessary. I don't know.
Well, I think first we need to establish if somebody's living there or not. Because if somebody is living there, there's an urgency to take care of it right away. If there's not somebody living there, then we have a little bit more time, but it's still a structure. So I would suggest that an inspector go out there and report his findings, and if he sees it seriously deficient, we should notify the county of the unsafe structure.
Can we do that, Councilman?
Yeah, that could be a consensus of the board, and then, but we do need a ruling on this case.
On the code issue. So that's gonna be included, the request to inspector to be, take a look at this will be included in the minutes and will be sent out. But ruling still has to be made, or a motion has to be made as to, do the actual violation.
I think it's already agreed upon that there is, based on the discussion that's already been had, I think it's clear that everybody acknowledges that there is a maintenance or possible building code violation issue. It's just a matter of, finishing out the order as to the fine time for compliance. And then in addition to that, the building inspector will definitely go out there and conduct an inspection. follow up with these findings.
Let's give it at least the next month to get more investigative reporting on what.
Okay, so how do we word it?
Maybe we can do a motion to have a building permit and have it 30 days for a building official inspect the property to determine the safety of the structure. And provide us.
I can also, just to add, that you can also just table this item. This item will come back at the next meeting, with an update. The same, you don't have to make a motion today to do anything other than motion to table and for the next month's meeting. But the, action of the inspector going out. that's-
Okay, so ask for Ulysses to go out and then table, that's kind of, fine, fine.
If we table it, but Ulysses goes out there and just find that it's an unsafe structure, he can start the process. He doesn't have to wait for us to make a ruling at the next meeting because we tabled.
It's a completely different animal. It does not, does that free from anything that has to do with this pool.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah. All you're doing is tabling this ticket. How much was the ticket for? You
What
can
does
either
tabling
affirm
mean?
or
It's coming back,
continue,
it's just, it's not gonna.
or
it's gonna be brought back.
deny the $100 ticket. All you're doing is certifying $100. It's not a rate fine. You want to think about it? Continue it.
Okay, so if I make a ruling to table it, or I gotta ask for did Ulysses go out and make a inspection or finding on the structure.
Further investigation.
I'm gonna table it until he gets back to us,
And does he have to?
until the next meeting.
Well, I mean, if the board makes a request,
He's
He's
So
gonna
he
do it.
gives us whatever you wanna call it, a report or
he's gonna do it.
a direction.
We need to access.
Unless it's bad enough that he takes care of it.
We need access for that.
If the issue of we do have legal remedies for access as well. They, for some reason, I can guide them on how to cross that bridge if we need to. But if they grant us access, great. If not, there are remedies that we could have taken court. We've done that before.
Because I don't want in 30 days, Ulysses to say, no, I wasn't able to contact anybody and I wasn't able to get access.
No, it's not, that's not the end of the road.
I think that to remedy that, the motion should be that we waive the ticket until the city goes and is able to determine what the situation is there.
It's your.
We're making people pay who don't have the money, or desperate, and the city hasn't gone out, or maybe they don't have to, but they haven't.
I think we can waive the ticket.
The ticket is issued and it has to be addressed.
You either affirm, I'll read the code, it's either whether the code, the citation. They failed to appeal this, so they didn't appeal it, they provided notice, they didn't appeal it. So they waived their right to administrative hearing. Either they affirm, either the board affirms it, or it basically, this is a default essentially. So, I mean, in the absence of any type of defense, yeah, I guess in theory, the board could reject it, but it is, all the city's looking for is an order on the ticket affirming the $100, acknowledging that the violation exists and affirming the $100 citation. I would caution the board from dismissing it and doing away with any record of the existing building violation, which the city stands by, that exists. I think this, I represent the city, so I would say that the ticket was validly issued, but, you know, good, this is for the board's consideration. Keep in mind the notice was provided, and the appeal wasn't taken. So, this is essentially the default.
If they're capable of appealing it, then it's a default. If they're not, then we're just stating it's a default, but it really isn't.
If they're capable of appealing it. If they don't appeal it within 20 calendar days, then it's.
You and I are sitting here like the rest of us, and we have no idea what the situation is, how old these people are, or if they're able to. So I guess
Well, what you said about the 20 days is important.
That's not. Wasn't even looking to think, I was trying to move on to something that could possibly resolve. I was trying, but I don't know what I was doing. I just want to table it until next month, but I want Ulysses to come to go. And if he can't go, then what do we need to do?
You could make a motion to table the case till next month and request that the building official appear and give you more details regarding, because what he's gonna opine on does, I mean, he could speak on this case. This is right up the building official's alley. The building, appears to be a building violation. So we give you more specific details as to what he finds in his inspection that would bolster this case. But in addition to that, and separately from it, he can take whatever action he deems, appropriate. So he'll fill you in on those findings. You could certainly do that.
If he says that it's the structural damage is minor and it's not a not, then, we can make, to me, then at that point, we can make a rule. Say, okay, fix this, whoever owns the house. You got one charge. That's just my opinion and my feeling.
If that
Okay, so
assists you, then
can you
yes.
make a motion out of what I said?
The motion would be to have
I want
the
to
building
I want to
official-
table it until our building inspector goes out there and tells us the severity and if we should continue with our job here
I just want to clarify. We're going to table to next,
till next meeting.
table to next meeting.
Contingent on him going.
And in addition to tabling it, the request for the building
Request
official to go.
That Ulysses go out, or he may already have enough information from when he went, I don't know.
And to provide an update at the next meeting.
Yeah.
And can I add to that, to provide service to the owner to also appear at the next meeting?
I think that
Another
happens-
notice?
That would happen normally.
Yeah, they will be notified through the
Like all, like any other case that still receive that. So, we have a motion, to table this item this case to the next meeting and to have, to request the building official to go out and inspect the property and to, report back.
Okay. Yes.
And I'll second that.
So I'm gonna do a roll call. There's no, is there any more discussion? Board member Corey. Aye. Board member Isla Ray.
Yes.
Board member Banks.
Aye.
Board member Zapata.
Aye.
And board member Figueroa.
Aye.
So the next meeting, like we mentioned a couple times, it's gonna be, next month is, March 1st. That's what I joked.
The meeting is adjourned. Yeah.
Thank you. Cindy, can you turn that off?